Good day, so this is Jelemy A. Bacas and I am in Group 10. Our topic is the Chapter 6 Promotion of Local and Oral History and Other Related Topics.
Learning outcomes. At the end of this chapter, you must be able explain the meaning and importance of local and oral history, museums, historical shrines, and indigenous rites and rituals in the development of Filipino identity. Elaborate on the role played by local and oral history, museums, historical shrines, and indigenous rites and rituals in spreading the past of the Filipino nation and people. Next, demonstrate interest in studying, researching on, and writing the local and oral history. So demonstrate an appreciation of the important role of museums and historical shrines play in the preservation of conservation of heritage and initiate ways of installing pride of the indigenous rites and rituals among the youth. Churchill wrote, "The study of local history provides the foundation and substance of national history. More than just studying the history of towns, provinces, or regions in the Philippines and the people who live there. The study of local history provides us with a documentation and analysis of broad processes which are important in shaping the quality of life of the people. Local history thus enriches our understanding of our national history." However, as we observe nowadays, national history is the one who is more focused on the way we study even in high school or in elementary. As a matter of fact, there are some people who doesn't know about the history of their provinces, towns, cities, and etc. And that is one of the example how neglected our local and oral history in terms of studying about it. And according to Buncan, a person who loves his town, province, or region seeks to know more about the culture and traditions which are closely knitted with the historical development of that town, province, or region. Vis-a-vis a country generally finds it easier to love a larger, therefore more unfamiliar body politic such as a country. So it states that if we really love our town, province, or region, we will seek to know more about it. Because in that way, we will have a closer relationship in our hometown and it will be more easier for us to love our own town as it is a part of our national history. Understanding the meaning and importance of local and oral history. 1. The meaning of local and oral history. So local history, according to Tan, 1997, refers to a local history as that category of historical writing which emphasizes a specific or limited aspects of national life, geographic or otherwise. It deals with the history of villages, barrios, towns, cities, provinces, regions, as well as the personalities and contribution to the political, economic, social, and cultural development. Stuart pointed out that local history is focused on the description of past culture of the certain place based on the written documents with specific chronologies. The collective experience of a group of people. It is often documented by local historical societies or groups that are formed to preserve a local historic building or other historic site. And one of the examples of this are in our barangay, we have a different history about how and who does found it, and it is particularly written in documents. Local history is also about what happened in the past on our doorsteps. It's about the neighborhood and the communities which we belong to. It's part of our personal identity. It connects us to our home, place, and streets, the houses, the fields, the farms, the mountains, the rivers. It is part and parcel of who we are ourselves. It is about how our home places fitted into the big history. For example, what happened in the people from all towns and lands? Who discovered it? Who named it? And how come they get the places? Aren't you curious about that thing? So let's proceed to oral history. Many different things to many different people, but academics have defined our history since the late 1940s as a research method that asks eyewitnesses to talk about their lives and their own experiences, and usually very extensive life history interviews and event-focused interviews. Oral history is a collection and a study of historical information using sound recordings or intercourse with people having personal knowledge of the past. It is also a methodology of first-hand reminiscence of historical events of an eyewitness or recounted through the invention of historian and as pointed out by Stuart White. The historiography, or the writing of history of groups that do not know how to read and write, which centers on traditions and languages which are shown in epics, legends, genealogies, and the stories of the town. So oral history can be taught about in the different ways. First, in the recording of first-hand accounts. Second, the process of making those recordings, and then the written accounts. It is a kind of history which exists and not in written literature, but in oral traditions, narratives, and personal experiences which are passed on orally from generation to generation, like folklore or kwentong bayan, epic, poems, beliefs, costumes, and traditions. For example, oral history would be conducted with workers about what happened to their community in work. A life history interview where they would begin with childhood or perhaps the parents and their grandparents, and then take it up to the present. We're interested in people's memories of their lives and the stories detail about their lives. We're interested in people's experiences. But according to Tan, it is a vital in the integration of Philippine society, and it is definitely one way of bringing out diverse communities together. Agoncillo also stated history based not only in interviews with old men and women of certain place regarding events that they allegedly witnessed in their earlier years, but more significantly with government officials and private individuals who were directly or indirectly involved in the occurrence of certain events. But according to Louis Starr, a primary source material obtained by recording the spoken words generally by means of planned, pre-recorded interviews of persons deemed to harbor hitherto unavailable information where is saving. The importance of local and oral history to national development. How important is local and oral history to national development? Tan stressed that in all the process of generated by local initiatives and the atmosphere of meaningful freedom, the role of local history is vital. Pointing to the definition of history as simply an organized record of the meaningful past, he emphasizes that as such, it becomes the essential reservoir of local data and memories of events, realities, and things that constitute the essence of local life. Local and oral history is fundamental to national interest. Why? And one of the reasons of that is local and oral history is part of our national history. Ours is a country of diverse culture, but despite this, we can be united by simply not allowing one group of people, especially those in the Imperial Manila, to dictate on or influence the entire nation. National interests, Tan pointed out, should represent the numerous localities, sectors, and ethnic groups from Batangas to Tawi-Tawi, regardless of creed, origins of race, age, and gender. Can national history be written without local history? Yes, it can, but it cannot be truly a national history since, as Tan again emphasized, national history must derive substance and substance from local history data and interpretations before it can establish valid national generalizations. The study of local and oral history helps in assessing the capability of a place or a group of people, in discovering and propagating a local traditions and culture, and enriching and deepening one's appreciation of his origin, and becoming proud of his roots. So let's proceed on how to start writing a local and oral history. So the first thing one must do is know what we would like to research and write about. The second thing to consider is methodology to be used. The third one, what and who will be the sources of the data. And the last one is analysis of data. Hence, a local history must be a lasting value. Apilado gave the following characteristic for it to be considered a good historical account. Number 1, it must be an original work, not a rehash or a recycling of historical facts which have been written about countless times. It could either present new information through the use of primary sources or provide new insights or interpretation to familiar information. Number 2, it deals with the subject matter which is historical value or masaysay. A historical account must be able to show the following: where we came from, how things changed, what particular path was taken and for what reasons, why we are where we are now. And number 3, it must meet basic academic standards expected of many written work, which includes a good manner, clarity of presentations, or narrative and proper attribution through a bibliography or foot and notes for it to be more credible. And that is all. Thank you.